16 after right now. Jack Cunningham is a congressman from the state of Washington. He has introduced a bill in Congress that would abolish all the hundreds of treaties between the United States government and the various American Indian tribes. Congressman Cunningham is with us this morning on Face Off. Buffy Sainte-Marie is an entertainer. She is a Cree Indian. She is the founder of the Native North American Women's Association, and she disagrees very strongly with Congressman Cunningham. And welcome to you both. Good morning, Buffy. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning.
Congressman, why would you abolish all the treaties that the government has with the Indians?
Well, I think, first of all, if you're really interested in helping the Native American Indians come to the full capabilities that they're capable of, you have to stop relegating them through these treaties and the way they're administered into being second-class citizens. The second is you have to comply with the U.S. Constitution, and that we are a single class of people in this country, all with the same rights and not with special privileges.
And you say that these treaties make Indians not only second-class citizens, but give them special privileges that...
They have, through the now famous Judge Bolt decision in Tacoma, which was rendered 3 years ago, stating that Indians off of the reservation dealing with the public on public lands have special privileges. And we've had some real problems in the state of Washington. They're getting worse. They're spreading to other states now. So these bills, the one specifically dealing with abrogation, a hard word, tough one to go with, is simply a vehicle to call attention to the problem and hopefully get the legislative process going.
Thank you. Buffy, I know you disagree strongly.
Well, I certainly hope that the people who are interested in Panama treaties, or the people in China interested in Taiwan, or anywhere else in the world are listening to this kind of legislation. Because whether you know it or not, all U.S. treaties are the same, whether it's with an Indian nation or with any other nation. That's the highest law of the land, the supreme law of the land, and it's backed up by the Constitution. So if you're going to abrogate treaties, then you might as well throw away the Constitution. And Panama and everybody else in the world better watch out. And there goes America's human rights stand right down the drain. What I think is the most amazing thing about your bill is that you dare to call it the Native Americans Equal Opportunity Act, when actually you ought to call it the Native Americans Rip-Off Act. It's only one more of the same in a history of such bills.
Why?
Well, if you think that this bill is going to help Native Americans, why wouldn't we have come up with this kind of bill ourselves? To break all existing federal treaties with Indian people is to jerk the rug out from under the poorest of the poor.
In what way? How would the bills do that, Buffy?
Well, what this bill would do would close all Indian hunting rights, all Indian fishing rights, would close all of our hospitals, all of our schools, would take all of our land base away, which not only is our homeowner base, but our religious base. It would take away jurisdiction on our reservations over our own lives. I mean, it's obviously just another way to legally steal more land. It's being backed up certainly by groups of white racists, by white ranchers who have either leased land on reservations or who have encroached upon reservations and who would love to see this go through so that their living there could be made legal. It's also backed up by certain sportsmen's groups who go onto the reservation for their weekend trophy jaunts and who would love to have complete jurisdiction over the reservations.
Well, it's obvious that Ms. Sainte-Marie has not read the bill, because it very specifically says that, first of all, the land, and there's 51 million acres of land, will be given, deeded, put in their name, and they can elect, through the various enrollments of the different tribes, they can elect whether they want to take the land in their own individual names or whether they want to go ahead and put it into a municipality. Right now, we have over $2 billion a year being spent by the federal government in the form of the Bureau of Indian Affairs to administer Indians. Now, that ranges from, no matter whose figures used, somewhere between $10,000 and $40,000 a year per reservation Indian. And the problem is, with all of this, with this federal babysitting, we have Indians today in the United States. They have the lowest income, they have the highest rate of employment, they have the highest rate of alcoholism, they have the highest infant mortality rate, they have the lowest life expectancy. Now, if all of this government protection is not helping them, I think that they are strong enough that they can take care of themselves. The bill is simply to try and give them that opportunity. In the meantime, off the reservation,
are not receiving protection
they live
from
like
the
the rest
government.
of us.
Sorry, go ahead, Buffy.
We're not receiving protection from the government. Our problem is with the government. The Bureau of Indian Affairs is not a babysitting organization. The Bureau of Indian Affairs is a government organization. And when money is funded to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, that doesn't go to Indians, that goes to the government. We can take care of ourselves, yes, but not through abrogation of treaties.
Well, if you say that you can take care of, let's say you, the Indians of America, can take care of themselves, aren't you saying that you agree in a sense that, you don't want the special privileges that...
It's not a matter of special privileges. If you understand treaty law with Indian treaties, treaties are not a grant of rights from the government to Indians. Treaties represent a grant of rights from Indian people to the government, which need to be upheld.
Well, one of the problems, and this is the tough part. At the time the treaties were entered into, 150 to 180 years ago, these were not U.S. citizens. These were a sovereign nation. Today, they're United States citizens. We have a U.S. Constitution that says U.S. citizens all have equal rights and the same protection under law. This is not the case today. The Indians have a very valuable culture and heritage to include in this country as part of the overall strand that makes this country up. All of a sudden, this strand is now becoming a rope for a tug-of-war, and we need to be working together. I have concern that through the federal government, through the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and they're well-intentioned, the program isn't working. Some of the tribes have been a lot more successful than others, but I think we have a very common bond in that we are trying to see how we have everyone in this country live at the levels that we're all fully capable of.
You have a common goal, Buffy. 30 seconds.
I think the American people ought to understand that at the moment there are 11 bills in Congress, not just your bill, which is basically a smokescreen so that people won't look at the other 10. The other 10 bills are a conspiracy to rip off Indian land, headed up not by white racists and ranchers alone, but by a corporate few who want to maintain their hold on all of the nation's resources. The Meads bill is very dangerous, which you're co-sponsoring. Muskie and Cohen are trying to extinguish all Maine Indian land titles. And Walsh is trying to do the same thing in New York.
I'm sorry, I must interrupt because we're out of time. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.